So first of all, the 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 maximum charge, the maximum recharge that was going to be 8 megajoules, that has
Yep.
been dropped to 7 megajoules. So that's a slight, I think it was 25% drop, 25% or 12.5% drop
Yep.
from the overall that was going to be there.
Yeah.
It's not massive, but again, it helps to a
Yeah.
certain extent.
For
I think,
anyone wondering as well, I think the battery capacity is limited at 4 megajoules, right? Yeah.
yeah,
So basically the idea here is that, if you're limited to less charging, there's only so many times you can charge and discharge the battery, in this case twice fully. Less than twice now, sorry, with the 7. So the closer to get to 4, the less you're going to be able to basically, see the lifting and coasting throughout the lap, because you're limited on how much you can recharge. So
yeah.
just for anyone
So
wondering.
remember there was this thing. It was in Australia where Oscar's first qualifying lap, it was ruined because he started the lap already with a full charge.
Yeah.
So what happened was when he lifted and coasted, you cannot really go beyond 4. So it was a waste essentially for him. And these are again some of the things that they have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Why they are they have to stick with 4 megajoule battery, not more than that, because it would make the car even power would be
Heavier.
even exactly.
Yeah.
So that would be one thing. Secondly, the super clip power they have increased from 250 kilowatt to 350 kilowatt.
Yep.
Now this is something that a lot of people have not understand. So power by time is your energy,
Yep.
and a lot of people, including a couple of journalists that were explaining it on one of the podcasts, they are still confusing between kilowatt and joules. So what essentially is going to happen is if you have a 250 kilowatt upper limit of super clipping, what that means is you have to super clip for a larger amount of time to have the same amount of energy recharge.
Yeah.
Because we've increased it from 250 to 350, the amount of time they'll be super clipping has been significantly reduced. That's almost a 40% jump. So what we are going to see is what happened essentially at the end of the straights, there's this large time when they are super clipping, we won't have that time would be reduced. And again, that's a very good thing.
Yeah.
Finally, again, the number of events are low, that's useless. Now coming to the race, and again, even here, a few safety and consistency of performance changes. So here, what has essentially happened is the incident between Franco Colapinto and Ori Behrman.
Yeah.
Why that happened? One of the major reasons why we are seeing this massive differential in speeds is because once you have so they specifically mentioned this thing. The boost at 350 kilowatt was what used to be there. So the power being put through the power being expended, it was at 350 kilowatt. That was the rate at which it was being expended. Now they've reduced it to 150 kilowatt at the start of out of a traction zone.
Yes. Yeah.
So the reason why they've done this is, again, it will have two impacts. The first is the speed differential is going to be less because there'll be lesser, the power expansion will be lesser. There will be second impact as well. It would be, we will have lesser overtakes. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
Now comes I think out of all of this, there's one thing that is probably, again, it's a bit of a gray area. We don't know what's going to happen here. It's where Mercedes comes into the picture. During the start phase, since there was the safety issue we had with, I think Liam Lawson had a messy start in one of the races, and Colapinto passed him, just escaped the whole thing. To avoid something like that, initially what used to happen is we would have zero electric charge the entire start, at least until
50 kilometers an hour.
50 kilometers per hour. Until that point, there would be no electric charge that was going to be used.
Yeah.
Now what they've done is, in case there is a car that is unable to have the kind of traction, a certain level of help would be provided through MG UK.
Yeah.
And why this is being done is it is being done on the safety grounds. So again, it's not going to help. Theoretically, it's not going to help on the performance front.
Well, the FIA said they would crack down on anyone who tried to use it for performance.
Yeah,
but we know how good the FIA is at cracking down on things.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So there are two teams that this might help.
Mercedes.
and Red Bull.
Yeah.
Red Bull
Yeah.
is the one that is being the worst affected one. So they probably the biggest benefactor is going to be Red Bull. All four of those Racing Bull, the two Racing Bull and the Red Bull Racing ones. For Mercedes, however, the problem is slightly different, and this was something that Mark Hughes talked about. Their poor starts are essentially a, how should we put it? A byproduct of the fact that they can harness more power because they're running higher gear ratios. So Mercedes compared to McLaren is running higher gear ratios, so they can harvest more power
Yeah.
because they're running at they'll have better top speed and etc. The byproduct is the starts are going to be slower.
Yeah.
That's why in Suzuka we had Oscar Piastri jump both of them
Yeah.
at the starts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be one area where there's going the difference is going to stay until the end of the season. Why? Because gear ratios are fixed. They are homologated at the start of the season. They won't be changing.
Yeah.
So roughly this is what we have. In short, if we are going to just summarize everything, Jason, go ahead first. You were about to say something.
No.
You were about to say something.
No.
Okay. So yeah. So in short, if I have to summarize the whole thing, what they've tried to do is they've tried to reduce the amount of time that is spent on both super clipping and electric energy harvesting. They've reduced the electric energy harvesting part. And more importantly, because the issue that we had was the power used to be expended by even half a straight. Now that is not going to be a case because earlier it was 350 kilowatts at which the boost we used to ultimately expend power. Now it's going to be 150 to 250.
Yeah.
So that way it's going to have a bit lesser of an impact.
Yeah.
To sum it all up.
Just to put a couple of things in perspective as well, or well, one simple thing in perspective. So I was just like figuring out there, if you were to charge at 350 versus 250 with these rates, what that actually means in terms of like charging a battery, how long it'll take and so on. So if you are charging a 4 megajoule battery at 250 kilowatts, it'll take, obviously this is rough, it depends on a few other factors, but just roughly 16 seconds. Yeah, exactly. And if it's 350, it's 11 and a half seconds. Yeah, so yeah, 11 and a half seconds at 350. So you're talking nearly 5 seconds, like 4.5 seconds in difference there of charge. However, when you extend that to 7 megajoules over the whole lap, if they are using the full 7, it's 20 seconds versus 28 previously. So 8 seconds less of charging. Now, ideally, in my view, they should have gone down to 6 or even 5. You know, I frankly, just 4, charge it up once per lap, I think is enough.
I agree.
You know,
I agree. It would be like Curse in that case, isn't it?
Yeah,
Curse used to have a 50 how much was it? It was 50 horsepower.
Yeah, it was way lower. Right? I can't remember the exact figures, but way lower.
Yeah, it was very low. And essentially it used to be recharged at the end of the lap every time.
Yeah.
Good old days.
I mean, like if you just had it, get rid of the software, put it at like 4, even 5 megajoules, so you have a little bit more that you can recharge is fine. But like 4 or 5 megajoules, the driver has to manage it completely. The software doesn't, you know, when they slam on the brakes, fine, let it regen automatically. That's fine. But basically let the driver decide like when to do all the things. Don't let the software do it.
Yeah.
And just means that way the driver has to figure out. That was what I think we were looking forward to this season. Like drivers like Max and Alonso and, you know, Sainz even. These drivers who can like manage so much different things in their mind. There'd be more things to manage and therefore those drivers would have an advantage even in a slower car. I was looking forward to that. The software has completely taken that away, like completely removed that. So that for me is the biggest thing that needs to go. Like just simplify it a little bit if you need to, but let the driver do it. So yeah, the other thing I would say as well is I am concerned about the 50 kilometers an hour, the MGUK start. Because I know it's like, it's a software thing that triggers and whatever. But that basically means like if we go back every single time, Red Bull would have fallen into that category and gotten a boost from the electric, right? Now, maybe it won't make a huge difference. But in my opinion, if you're getting something that the other team doesn't get in terms of a boost, you should by absolute merit be penalized somewhere else. So like if that, I know you're technically penalized because you're using some of the energy, but I feel like that's a tiny amount of energy you're using in reality. It's not going to make much of a difference.
It gets offset by the lesser consumption of the internal combustion engine as well, isn't it?
Maybe
The overall power remains the same.
when it comes, I just don't think you're going to get penalized for it. And I think I could see a lot of the drivers cleverly figuring out, and the teams cleverly figuring out, okay, what exactly do I have to do at revs to get that electric off, so I can, like, if you're Mercedes and Red Bull, as you said, Ferrari don't need this. So Ferrari are going to take off. Mercedes and Red Bull are going to make sure they trip into that every single time. And then where do you lose out later on? Especially if you're Mercedes and Red Bull, who have better deployment anyway, like, you can afford to throw away some of your energy later on. Yeah. So you can afford to throw it away later on. And you're just neutralizing Ferrari's advantage that Ferrari built in the regulations, which isn't fair. And, you know, Ferrari, to their defense, for once stayed within the regulations. So I think they should be applauded for that.
For once, they did a good job. You're using the wrong words.
No, I just mean, you know, the last time they did a good job.
They stay within the regulations, but they do a job.
But the last time they did a good job, it was because they were cheating, is my point. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think it should be offset somewhere. Like, I think it should be a proper, it gets you off the line, because the point of it is a safety measure. So I think it should be a case of, like, if you have to use that, it gets you down the first line and then puts some sort of limit on your top speed at the next straight or something. You're penalized by it. You fall back. If you gain like 5 positions because of the battery power, you lose them all on the straight. Like, tough shit, you know. Like,
even if it's not really a case of them gaining any position, it's a case of them not losing any position as well, isn't it?
It's a case of being handed a free advantage that you didn't win on merit, which is just unfair.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
that's
you're benefiting for being poor at your job. Essentially, like, they put a safety pin because you suck.
Yeah, like, you can't watch the sport and be happy about Mercedes, or be annoyed about Mercedes having such an advantage with their engine, and then be happy about this, because basically you're saying, oh, I'm not happy with this sport being so artificial, but this artificial boost is absolutely fine. Like, to me, it's a safety thing. It should get you out of the way and then slow you down. Like, you should immediately, like, they could even make it that literally after the first corner or during the first corner, you are automatically, like, you have to give that energy back. So your system goes into like lift and coast or like reverse in the first corner, you know? So you're paying it back straight away and you penalize for it. But
I agree.
I just feel like this is a thing that we're going to hear nothing about in Miami, I'd almost assume. Maybe we will. But I feel like in 3 or 4 races, there's going to be a discussion that, it might not even be Red Bull or Mercedes. This could end up being like something that a random team like McLaren boosts ahead or whatever. You know,
it could also help a team like Audi as well, because they have a massive
turbo.
And they're also struggling with the starts.
And Bonanno knows how to get around engine rules, so you know. Yeah.
And he's bringing the band back together as well. People from Ferrari have moved there. Yeah, let's see what they ultimately end up.
Keep an eye on their fuel flow. That's the key.
Yeah. So, in short, if we are going to talk about the positives, negatives, the positives is, first of all, they've done something. The situation which was pathetic, now it is, let's say, 70% pathetic. So it's better to a certain extent. The area where I think it's not that good, and I think which still jars me a bit, there's roughly around 40 to 45% of the overall power that is not in control of the driver. And that is, for me, that is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Not acceptable, right? So that's one area where I think maybe they can think about. Again, when they're moving to a 25% thing, that 25% electric next year, out of that 5 or 10%, a driver can use it as electric boost, and the rest can be deployed by the algorithm. I'm fine with that. 15% is something we had last year as well in the previous set of regulations. 15% is fine. It's not game changing. When it's 40%, then you're taking everything from the driver in that case, right?
Yeah.